You wanted the best. You've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Hey folks, Voss here from the ChrisVossShow.com. Ladies and gentlemen, there are latest 6 that makes it official. Welcome to the big show. As always, the Chris Voss Show. 16 years, 2,500 episodes. We're bringing you the most amazing minds on the show to help your life be better. In the meantime, go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss, Chris Voss 1 on the TikTokity, and all those crazy places on the internet. Today, we have an amazing young lady on the show. We're going to be talking to her about what she does and how she can help you with your life. She is LeAnn Lyon. She's the Chief Joy Officer at Joyminder LLC, a powerhouse who helps burnout professionals discover joy through entrepreneurship. She's the creator of the From Failing to Sailing system, inspired her ventures both on and off the water, and designed to help high achievers rewrite their story, weather life storms, and find lasting happiness. She's the visionary behind the Start, Restart Your Business Summit and hosts the Beyond the Business Plan podcast, interviewing extraordinary thinkers about the journeys to meaning and success. Welcome to the show. How are you, LeAnn?
Oh, I'm so good. I guess I'm not great at producing short titles for my things, am I?
Oh, sometimes long is better. You pick up all those SEO Google keywords there.
All those long tail keywords. You got it. And I have a background in SEO as well. So why not?
So give us your .coms or wherever you want people to find out more about you on the interwebs.
Yep. Best way is go to joyminder.com, JOYMINDER.com. And pretty much everything is there, from the summit to the podcast to my sailing system, because we'd rather go sailing than failing. And
that's true. Else. Anything beats failing, that's for sure. I think pretty much. Maybe, I don't know. There might be some things that don't beat failing. Maybe there's some things worse than failing. I don't know. But who knows? We're going to talk about it. So let's get into it. Tell us about this upcoming summit you have that you're promoting and wanting to talk about.
Yeah, my summit is a summit I do 3 times a year. This is the September version of the summit. It's called the Restart Your Business Summit. And it really is aimed at a lot of solopreneurs. We get a lot of solopreneurs there, but also a lot of burned out professionals. And when I say burned out professionals, I mean people like I was. A burned out teacher, a burned out hospitality worker, burned out healthcare people. And those are 3 of the industries that have a really high burnout rate. And so you go into those when you're 20 and you've got energy and you think you can do it all and you're full of aspirational energy. And then you get to 30 and then 40 and you're like, you know what? This isn't really my thing anymore. And I always had this dream of owning my own business. And that is who the summit is for.
So people who are dreaming of owning their own business and want to know how to do it and how to avoid failing, because you can fail a lot in business if you're not careful.
Absolutely. I mean, failing comes in a lot of ways. And quite frankly, if you're a teacher in a classroom with no window living in Minnesota, you might feel like you're failing for weeks in a row when you see no sunlight.
That's true. It gets really cold up there in Minnesota. It gets really cold. I had a friend who was a cameraman in California, a photographer in California, so he's used to, wearing shorts and flip-flops running around California. And he got a gig in Minnesota and went there in the middle of winter. He called me and he's like, it's negative 25 here or something like that. And I was like, he goes, I didn't even bring the right clothes for this.
Fortunately, we have the Mall of America, and you don't pay income tax on clothing at the Mall of America, so you can go crazy, go shopping.
Wow, they got a good deal, didn't they?
Really Yeah.
I need to go to the Mall of America and save on taxes. That's for definitely sure these days. Now you're a certified John Maxwell speaker. You're a trainer, and you hold multiple professional licenses, including teaching, real estate, and travel. Sounds like you've done quite a few things with your life that kind of laid a foundation towards you starting your own business, maybe?
A few of them, actually. I've been the president and marketing director for a manufacturing company. I've done my own sales positions, and now it's basically business strategy work that I do. But really, Chris, I love introducing people. I love making that match, finding out what somebody needs and putting them together with either the right person or the right tool or the right career that will really just bring them to life. And it's not that I have preset ideas of what those are. It's always about them.
And finding your passion, finding what fits for you and starting a business too is really important. Do you think?
Yeah. COVID hit, right? And my second business inside of 1 year failed. Thank you, COVID, because the second business was travel.
Oh, wow.
And I thought, I know how to start businesses. I'm just going to start another one because that's what we're going to do. And a person approached and said, you'd be great at real estate. And I thought, you're right. I like sales. I like houses. Let's go. And I did all the work because I had all the time. But ultimately, I kind of like my free time, my evenings, my weekends.
What kind of person are you?
I know. And here I am.
Free time?
Right. I'm on the boat on the Mississippi getting phone calls. Hey, show this house to me in an hour. What?
Yeah.
Find out
It's
the hard
tough
way.
being a realtor. If you're a realtor, you got to be on like 24/7. It's crazy. I mean, you're dealing with people too. And I mean, just front end consumer type people. You're not dealing with business where you can't be like, yeah, it's after 5. Yeah. Call me tomorrow.
You really can't. No.
Yeah. So when did you start your first entrepreneur business and what got you into it? Tell us the story of how you transitioned. Did you have influence when you were growing up, or did just, something created the opportunity for you?
I suppose my first professional opportunity was really when I stepped into outside sales. As from being a teacher, my husband said, you should be in sales. And it's funny that I'd always done sales. I always actually excelled at sales. And yet when he said that, I'm like, ooh, sales, that's awful. And yet if you could see behind me, you'd see I've gotten a few awards for being pretty good at sales. But my first sales position, the golf course. We'd sneak out on the golf course. We'd hide underneath the bridge in the water. We'd wait for the golfers to plop their balls into the stream. And then we couldn't find them unless they, produced a quarter.
Oh, now how old were you when you were doing this?
Yes, 8, 9.
Wow. Down there hustling freaking golfers, Hey, we'll go find your ball.
Yep.
Yeah. But, we need a little, we got to sweeten the pie here, man.
Yeah, I just can't find it. It's you have a quarter? Let me look a little harder.
Let me...
Underneath my foot that I'm standing on.
Well, business is business, and you serve a need. I mean, people, they lose those balls. Those golf balls, especially if you buy some of them, they're really expensive these days. And so if you lose them, you usually go after them, even if there's an alligator in the pond in Florida or something, You're like,
no alligators in Minnesota, thankfully.
Yeah. Are you sure? I don't know, man.
I'm quite sure.
There could be some really deep down because it's so cold, but alligators in Minnesota, folks. Don't start a conspiracy cult. You got to be careful what you say on podcasts nowadays. So where do you go from there? Where's your next business start?
Going from, being in teaching, I started in outside sales. Outside sales led me into just thought leadership. I started working with businesses. I understood business just intuitively. And so people started hiring me to give them my thoughts on their businesses. And it was really great. But I ended up traveling 2-3 times a month, and I had little children. So eventually I thought, that's not serving my ultimate goals of being a really great mom, as well as holding a business. So that's when we bought my mother-in-law's manufacturing company, took that over. And the only way my husband said we would do it is if I became the president. And there we were. And that went until 2019.
So business, and you get into it. Now you've been an entrepreneur for how many years?
Phew. I think we took that over in 2011 or so. So 14 years officially, but truly outside sales, real estate, all of those things. When you have to hustle, when you have to go find the client, you're in business. You're an entrepreneur.
Yeah. Being in real estate, that's full-time entrepreneurism right there. I mean, even though you sometimes you work with a broker, you have to make your check every month. You have to do your deal. There's no guarantee. So yeah, definitely an entrepreneur. So now you help people through your summit, and do you do coaching and consulting as well, or do you just do the big summits?
The summit's 4 times. I know how many times I do this. 3 times a year. And in between, I do have my podcast as well, the Beyond the Business One. And in there, I love to interview entrepreneurs, talk about their journey. What did they learn? What did they, what were they surprised about in their journey as entrepreneurs? I love those conversations so much. And then right now I'm in a series as well talking about the sailing system, where we talk about the journey of entrepreneurship, from thinking about it to getting it started to launching it to navigating the storms, because they come. And a lot of what I do is around matching people. Where are you at in the process? What tools, what services, what people do you need to meet? And that's what I do, strategy.
The sailing system. Can you give us a tease out on some of the details of that? I notice it's got dots down the side of it. I think it's an algorithm or whatever they call it. But not an algorithm, but anyway. So what is the sailing system? How does it work?
So the sailing system is meant to help those burned out professionals. So again, this could be a teacher, hospitality, healthcare. It could be a doctor or a lawyer, somebody who, when they were 20 years old, mom and dad said, you should be and they believed it, and they went on and they got their degree. Well, now they've spent all this money. Maybe they're still paying off loans, but they're not happy.
Yeah.
So the sailing system is meant to help them along the way, from setting their course, clarifying their purpose, their values, their vision. It's very internal work on the S and the A of anchoring your readiness. Okay, I think I want to do this. Very internal. And then they move on to the first I, which is igniting commitment. This is where they get to juice it up a little bit and start sharing it cautiously with people. And I talk about, who do you share this with? Because it's not who you think.
Why is that important?
Quite frankly, because your friends and family like you the way you are. And if you're sharing it with your friends and family first, you're going to more likely get resistance, more likely get them saying, oh, no, you don't want to do that. You're not cut out for that, because they like you where you are.
And so sometimes they have some really bad advice from people that have no idea how to, they've never done a business. But, they're always like, oh, yeah, I heard, Bob down the block, he started a business and went bankrupt. You don't want to end up like that. Yeah, just stay safe, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and they are. They're concerned for your safety. They're also concerned for their comfort. Because if you grow and stretch and become something bigger, could that leave them behind? Yeah.
That reminds me of a time where I was just feeling I was putting on my most weight ever. I was in my 30s and I'd really kind of plateaued and gone up about 10 or 20 pounds. And so I started I think I was engaged, and I'd been living with my girlfriend for a year and a half. And I just started working out one day, and I didn't really go to the gym. I was just standing in front of the TV lifting weights. And boy, she flipped out. She got so upset with me. And she's like, you're trying to leave me. And clearly she had some trauma and some wounding from prior relationships. And, but it was interesting because, so then I'm like, no, I just really feel garbage. Like, I feel like I'm dying. I've put on some weight, and this is the most weight I've ever been. And I just I'm trying to get healthy, and part of it's too her, I mean, sure, she's not going to, like me if I become a fat blubber blob that I am. And so, it's just doing it because I felt like shit and I just want to feel better and maybe get healthy and lose some weight. I just kind of realized that, I was starting to really soar, and I'm like, if I don't, nip this in the bud, I'm going to gain a lot of weight. And so no matter how much I convinced her, I was doing it just to be healthier and feel better and maybe look better for her. And she flipped out, and she started working out too. And I was like, this isn't a competition. You're fine. You look great. You're going to leave me. And so, yeah, you're right. Some people, they don't want you to change because they're pretty happy with everything. And like you say, they're worried that maybe you're going to get, successful and not talk to them anymore. That's what I did with my family. Once I became a millionaire, I said, no, I'm not talking to you guys anymore.
Perfect. Exactly.
No, I'm just kidding. I didn't do that. Stop it.
Of course not. And none of us have that intention, but our triggers, it's funny. I was just on a show recently and somebody said, people can't push your buttons if you don't have buttons.
That's true. That's true. That's why I walk naked around the office and at home.
Good to know.
So there's no buttons that can be pushed. That or I just wear clothing that doesn't have buttons or something. But no, that's a really good point. I mean, people can't push your buttons. How do you make it so people can't push your buttons? Do you use like stoicism or do you just ignore them, or do you analyze, does the information, like a lot of people give you advice about being an entrepreneur and you're like, have you ever started a company? Well, no. Well, boy, you sure seem to know a lot. You want to discourage me from doing it.
Yeah. Never take advice from people who haven't actually walked the path. That's why I do the podcast, because then we are feeding into, if anybody wants to tune in and just say, what could it be like to be an entrepreneur? And I ask different questions all the time, but some of them are, what do you wish you had known before? Or what are you glad you didn't know before you started your entrepreneurial journey? Because there's answers to both of those questions, and sometimes they're the same ones.
And finding your purpose is so important. If you can find something you love, it's interesting. I mean, we have a lot of stories like yours that people come on the show and, they were doing one thing, like you say, they were kind of fitting the form of, filling in the box when life went, what do you want to do? Or that what do they call them? The high school counselors that, do the job counseling with you. They go, oh, you should probably go do welding or something. You're like, what? And they're well-meaning folks, but sometimes you sometimes you do something, you kind of like it for a while, but then 10 years go by and you're like, I don't know about this. It kind of explains my first 12 marriages. How do you help people identify? Maybe we don't want the secret sauce, but what are some of the techniques or tricks you figure out to identify what someone's purpose is?
Really, it comes to tuning into your heart. Take a look around. Where do you feel valued? Where do you feel joy?
Where do you feel valued? I like that.
And when you feel that, I mean, you talked about buttons and triggers and things. If you're having a negative emotional response to something you hear, or by the way, you thought you heard, then there's some work to do on the inside. This is usually not them. It's usually you. So go find a good coach. Go find a good mindset coach. I have quite a few coaches that I'm willing to connect people to, because I don't want to be a mindset coach. I have zero desire to be a mindset coach. Honestly, as I have a real estate license, I would love to get the right person into real estate, and I will probably try to talk people out of it a little bit first, because 80% of people who get their license quit within the first 2 years. So,
and I mean, most of them don't make much money on average.
Right. Yeah. And some really do, but you have to know what is your why. You have to know what's your purpose, your mission, what's your heart center telling you. And if you do have a longing, if you've always thought, I want to work for myself, then you need to find a way to do that. At least give it a try.
Yeah. And having coaches and people that can assist you are really important because, I mean, you can really fail hard in owning companies. I mean, I've seen that so many times in my journey as an entrepreneur, and it's every day is just problem solving, fixing issues, and then every day there's new issues and new problems and new technology and new things that are coming at you, and you've got to just it's just basically daily problem solving. Being an entrepreneur, you're like, what's going on now? How come things aren't working again? And you got to tweak this, you got to tweak that, you got to do all sorts of little stuff. So what are people going to experience at your summit? What are some of the things? Are there speakers and activities, things like that?
Well, this summit, we have 8 incredible speakers, 2 per day. The summit's only 2 hours per day because that's a long time for most people's attention spans anyway. When I started the summits in 2020, I thought, oh, this would be fun. I'll do 4 days of 4 hours. After the first day, I'm like, what am I doing? This is not, because I'm hosting the whole thing, right? I'm directing it, I'm managing it, I'm doing the backside, the front side, and everything in between. And so 2 hours a day, very manageable. We have recordings if you're otherwise occupied, going to miss somebody. But man, I've got some amazing speakers. I have a publisher, and she talks about how to produce your books now in the world of AI. I have a copywriter talking about how does he navigate his career in the world of AI. Can you imagine? I'm a copywriter. I love copywriting. Now AI comes around. Head of relationships for a podcasting platform. He's coming in and talking. I've got some incredible other mindset coaches and SEO experts. So lots of variety. And it's not just for aspiring entrepreneurs, but truly for those of us who've already started, but maybe we just need a little injection of energy and knowledge as well. I love it.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting how AI is really disrupting so many things, and it's making a lot of people's lives easier. For some people, I was really surprised that coders were the first wave to take a hit on AI. It's kind of interesting. It's kind of ironic how the people who are building AI are the first ones to be out of a job. I just realized that actually is what happened there, or what's happening there. It's like, hey, would you like to be hired to code AI? What, and work myself out of a job? Are you kidding? Well, welcome to 2025.
Ironically, that was my second job. I did sell a computer program when I was 11.
And how'd you get into that?
I just really was drawn to it. Yeah, the first computer. I'm a little older than I might look. The first computer showed up in my 4th grade classroom, and it was like bee to honey, just had to go. And that's where I stayed all the way through high school. I got kicked out of classes, and because I knew more about computer programming than the teachers, and they'd just be like, we can't deal with you. Go to the computer lab. Great, please let me go to the computer lab. And I just had a blast doing it.
Yeah. The sailing system. You can learn how to realign with your thing and now how do people sign up for this? It looks like it's there's one upcoming in September of 2025. There's one in January of 2026. And boy, we're almost there, aren't we? May of 2026. Tell us about how they can sign up and get to know more.
Yeah, if you just go to joyminder.com, that's JOYMINDER. It's your reminder that you should have joy in your life. 41% of people dream of becoming entrepreneurs. That's a minority, by the way. Says the math teacher in me, but 41% of people dream of it. So if you're part of that 41%, come on over. The water's warm. Jump on in.
There you go.
And September is about getting ready for the next year. A lot of people want to start a business in January. Great. September is a great time to start working towards that. January is all about that new year, fresh energy. And even May has a different energy about it as we go into the summertime. What are you going to do with your business over the summer? Burned out teachers, are you going to transition to something over the summer? So we have 3 different distinct summits per year.
Oh, wow. So each one of them is unique then?
Each of them is unique. And we have new speakers, fresh energy every time. So you can sign up for one, and trust me, you'll get the invitation to the next one too. Promise.
There you go. And that goes on for 3 days. Is that correct?
4 days, actually, Tuesday through Friday.
4. Okay, yeah.
Yep. And we usually do it kind of a little after school starts, after January has gotten going, just before Labor Day. So we have it very strategically laid out. Or Labor Day, did I say that? Memorial Day.
Now, is it online? Is it only in person? Where is it usually held?
It's all online, so you can actually attend from your phone if you have to. Of course, being someplace where you can sit, take notes, do it. That we recommend that as much as possible.
That's good because I'm not into flying these days. These TSAs, they like to manhandle me. So that and just sitting in the plane, you're like, why are we taking off? Oh, they're checking the way of the plane. It's been 2 hours. I've been sitting in this chair, and it's a 5-hour flight. Now it's a 7-hour flight. So that sort of thing. What else do we need to know that we haven't touched on about some of the different services you provide and how you do it?
No, I just really encourage people, come on over to joyminder.com, download the sailing system. I have a worksheet. You can work through it on your own and find out where you're at. Set up a meeting with me. On Monday mornings, 9 a.m. Central Time, I have what I call a Leaders League. At the moment, I don't charge for it. Just come on in. It's a Zoom call. You can find the link on my contact button and come on in, meet with other leaders, people who are doing business, doing life, and you can either share your thoughts or you can just sit and listen. And then at 10 o'clock in the morning, Central Time, I do a Q&A call. And oftentimes I'm sharing something new that I found, or there's a really great new affiliate thing going on in the world right now. I don't know if you've heard about it, but I have, because I keep my thumb on that pulse. And affiliate marketing is another area where people are like, wow, I really want to do affiliate marketing, but it's always been hard and it's always been very much a solo adventure. And this is bringing it all together into a beautiful collaborative space. I'm very excited about it.
A beautiful collaborative space. So people can learn all these wonderful things. They can attend the seminar. They can find financial freedom. Being an entrepreneur is really great. I mean, you control your life to a certain degree, and it's kind of nice being able to write a paycheck anytime you want. Like if you want to take off and go do something when you become successful as an entrepreneur, if I want to go somewhere for the weekend, I can. If I want to, be like, hey, I need some extra money to go have some fun this weekend. If it's there and I'm successful, of course, it's nice. It's nice to be able to just take money when you want it. You don't have to sit there and be like, well, ho hum, we're gonna have to wait till 2 Fridays from now. It's nice to be able to take a vacation when you want. You don't have to sit there and one of the things I try and do is I try and take all my vacations or time off or getting away or traveling when everyone else isn't. Like I hate one thing I hate, and I always have to remember, I forget holidays as an entrepreneur, because I'm like, what? People get time off? And so I try and take all of my holidays anytime that there's not a holiday. So, between Vegas and Utah, like Memorial Day here, everyone's going to be on the road with their boats. Labor Day, they're going to be on the road with their boats going to the lake. And it's just going to be a parking lot. So they're going to spend like 4 hours in traffic to go spend, 4 hours on the lake and then 4 hours back. And meantime, I'll just be sitting there just going, why the hell did I go out for lunch today? But then, I go take my vacations and my time off on the travel, in on the non-holidays, which is there's plenty of those days. Right. And, then I'm not running into, that Christmas rush, that Thanksgiving rush, that holiday rush at the airport or on the things. And, and it's kind of nice because you don't have to fight the tourists and all the activity. There's so many great things that come from being an entrepreneur, being self-actualized, being self-accountable. It teaches you to grow in a lot of different ways. It's crazy.
Chris, what's your dream?
My dream of what to be when I grow up?
Yeah, your dream when you grow up. What's your dream for being an entrepreneur?
I don't know that I have one. I'm pretty happy with what I have now.
That's awesome.
Does that count?
Yeah, totally.
I've only been doing it for about,
dream. You're in a good spot.
Yeah, I've only been doing it for 40 years. I think it's in 40 next year. It'll be that I started my companies when I was 18.
Oh.
So, I love what I'm doing now, but it's taken me a while to find that. I've gone through meander. Our first bunch of companies, people come to me and be like, "It's great you do what you love." And I'm like, I don't love this. I just do it for the money. I'm just an investor. And they were like, "Oh, it's great you do things that you care about." And I'm like, I really hate this business. I don't love it. So it took me a while to wander around and find my business and my purpose. And boy, I advise people that on the show all the time: find your purpose and find doing what you love at being an entrepreneur, because some days you don't want to get up as an entrepreneur. Even now I have days where I'm like, oh, do I have to get up and do today? But if you love it, it makes all the difference in your work, and it makes all the difference in, you get up, you're like, hey, I'm doing something I love today. That's a fucking privilege. I've seen, I saw the person at McDonald's today, and I worked at McDonald's when I was a kid. I know, how fun that is. Sometimes not, but you got to go deal with some bosses you don't like. I think that's a story in my book. But it's finding what you love, find your purpose. So I'm glad you help people hone in on that, because I talk to a lot of people that want to start their own companies and they delay for years. And hey, did you start that company? No. Yeah. And I think maybe the reason a lot of people don't is because they're trying to find what you help people identify is what their real purpose is, and something that's really passionate. Because once you have that passion, you can't stop.
Right. And part of my passion is taking everything I'm doing and taking it on the river.
On the river.
Yes.
Down by the river. As it works.
We are going to take everything we've got and do a 7,000-mile boat trip. Wow.
Are you?
The podcast.
Now, what is that about? Tell us about what that is.
So, as you've probably figured out, I do live in Minnesota. There's this little river called the Mississippi that starts here. And there's a thing called the Great Loop. And you go down the Mississippi, eventually do a couple turns and twists. You end up in the Gulf, go around Florida, up the East Coast, into the Great Lakes, down to Chicago, and back to the Mississippi.
The Great Loop. How long does that take to do?
Well, recently, a 72-year-old gentleman completed it in a John boat. If you don't know what that is, it's a fishing boat. It's a 16-foot fishing boat with no bed that you steer manually. He did it in 19 days and 13 hours.
Wow. Some people got a lot of time.
I do not want to do that.
Come on, man. Where's the event? I think you should do it in an inflatable raft.
Yeah, people have done people have
got to beat this guy out.
No, people have done it. People have kayaked it, pontooned it, sailboated it, and yet fewer people have completed the entire loop than have climbed Mount Everest.
Really?
Yeah.
Sounds like this should be the new thing. I can see doing, the Mississippi in a smaller boat like that, but once you get to the Atlantic Ocean, you got a whole new animal there.
We're looking at about a 40-foot. A 40-foot trawler has good stability. It's meant for the ocean, so you do need the right boat. But you can kayak if you stay close to shore.
Yeah, that's just somebody did it in a little fishing boat, a John boat. That is crazy.
Yeah, it's a cool story. Crazy. If you want to look it up, it's a very cool story. Yeah. But most people take about a year. That's about what most people will do, 12 to 13 months. We plan to take as long as we want. There's no reward.
And did you say you were going to do the podcast as you did or something as you travel?
That's
the beautiful part about podcasting. You can do it anywhere with Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Do the podcast, run the business. I'd love to help people who want to do the loop find a business that they can do while they do the loop. I think that would be an amazing challenge.
Hey, we need to move the Chris Voss Show to a boat, damn it.
Yes.
What the hell are we doing on land? We could be sailing, for Christ's sake. What am I doing wrong here? I just realized I've been doing this podcast for 16 years and I've been landlocked. And what the hell am I doing wrong? We need to go put this thing in the Bahamas on a boat.
Oh, that's one of the excursions we plan to take. So we also plan to take a boat to Nashville, to New Orleans, to the Bahamas. We're not on a
Oh.
short, we're going to take the longest road possible to do this loop.
Podcasting on a boat. That'll do it. As long as you're not in a hurricane, it should be pretty good. Yeah, we're just coming to you with the Chris Voss Show, and Hurricane Johnson's here in glub. Maybe that's why we're not on a boat.
In the sailing system, we call that navigating the storms.
And that's kind of a. There's probably an analogy there for business and entrepreneurship, right? Yeah.
COVID.
And COVID, yeah. I lost a lot of money on that one too. That was a deal killer. And then 2008, that was fun as well. So as we go out, give people a final pitch out to get to know you better. Follow the podcast, sign up for the summit, and follow all the different things you do.
Yeah. So we just really welcome if you have a calling in your heart, if you have the aspiration to be an entrepreneur, we want to work with you. We want to hear your stories. We want to hear your doubts. We want to hear from you. So come on over. The water's warm. Joyminder.com. Download the sailing system. Check it out. Read through it. Jump on our free Q&A calls we hold twice a week. We have the Leaders League once a week. Listen to the podcast. Podcast is available pretty much everywhere. If you like podcasts, we're probably on that station, and it's called Beyond the Business Plan. But if you just look up my name, LeAnn Lyon, you'll find it. LeAnn is just 5 letters, LEANN, Lyon, LYON. And that's the easiest way to find the podcast I've found. Also on YouTube, if you want to watch the show, because I talk with my hands. That's what I do.
Well, it's been fun to have you on. Thank you very much for coming on the show. We really appreciate it.
It's great to see you, Chris. Thanks for having me here.
Thank you. And thanks for tuning in. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss, Chris Voss 1, the TikTokity, and all those crazy places on the internet. Be good to each other. Stay safe. We'll see you guys next time. And that should have us out. Great show.